Alright everybody, this is Chameleon, and we're going to be taking a look at the first game, first game's push. It looks like we've got mscheine's High Elves against the Dwarf team from zscheine. And neither of these coaches really picked the most original names, but we are going to see what the veteran team of the High Elves can do against the rookie Dwarf team coming up. And first things first. So coming in with a bit of a TV advantage is definitely going to be the High Elf team, and this is going to allow the Dwarf team to go ahead and induce Zar the Slayer, who is a 4 strength, 3 agility blodger with stab. Not going to be a whole lot of help right there, and definitely not the stakes either, but also comes with that 4 strength that is going to be a real advantage against the High Elves team. Starting off with the blocks here, and the Dwarf team is going to go for an early pickup. Generally, you want to see some of your blocks a little bit earlier, but he feels pretty confident he can get that pickup with the sure hands. And he's going to go ahead and defend that right there. Zar the Slayer looks like she's going to come on down, do a 2-die block, and not follow up here. So it looks like he's kind of telegraphing which direction he's going to be coming down, but at the same time maintaining a strong screen right across the center field. And he's going to pass on his turn. Pretty solid start. Next, we're going to have Matt bring up some of his men, doing some man marking. Something you definitely want to see against some of the bashy teams. You want to force them to take some of the risks here. He's going to go ahead and, get an early KO on the star player there. That's definitely going to counteract some of that inducement money that Zach was able to bring in. Zach is definitely now going to try to advance the ball, given their low movement. They're definitely going to want to do that pretty quickly. Go ahead and cage up, do his blocks, and another KO here on a High Elf. Doing more man marking, going to force that elf team to do some more dodges. And he is going to go ahead and take that push. Both teams playing a relatively safe game so far. They haven't done anything all too risky and haven't needed any real rerolls yet. Passing on the turn, and looks like Matt is going to continue to try to pressure the ball, or at least the cage on the ball, pushing away that first Troll Slayer, and backing up, making a blitz on the ball carrier with a blitzer. Take the defender down, and looks like he is going to be marking up. Alright, and looks like now Matt's going to be making a nice little screen action right across the middle. Keep that Dwarf team from moving anywhere quickly. And now Matt is definitely put up a situation where Zach is going to have to take this blodger off the ball. Now if this did have sidestep, obviously he'd be able to mark up quicker and elects to do the handoff instead. Doesn't need to use the reroll, screening off, going over to the side, and makes a new screen on the side. So Zach likes to switch the field here, not making too much forward progress, but definitely trying to box these elves in and allowing himself a wing route. That said, the elves are a pretty fast team, so they are going to be able to reestablish that net on the other side. And given that Zach did not provide enough of a marking situation, he isn't even going to have to do all that many blocks. Using his guard guy, that is a nice level up there to push him out of the thing. He's going to go ahead and mark up again. And I'm not sure why he's got these guys so spaced. You are generally going to want to establish 2-man deep with 2 squares in between to force those dodges. Go ahead and using that guard guy to nice effect, which is going to allow him to get a series of 2-die blocks, and leaving very few men marked up. So now this switching the field action from Zach has allowed Matt to actually separate him from about half of his team. He then looks like he's switching back to the other direction. If you look now at the difference between these last 2 turns, what's essentially happened is he switched the field back and forth, and all that's happened is that he's moved about 1 square forward, and Matt still has a considerable number of High Elves to continue to mark up. Using this guard guy again to open up a lane, and this is going to be, you generally don't want to make your cage corners, leaving them next to an upright guy for exactly this reason. It allows that blitz right into it, and he's going to get that 1-die block, knock out the ball, chooses not to follow up here. I guess he doesn't want to have much of a scatter, although that might be nice sometimes to see the scatter might end up landing in one tackle zone or even in the open, which would allow an elf to go and pick it up. But, he's going to play pretty solid here. Not too many men marked. He's got that guard guy removing assists. More of this tackle action. And tackle is really going to be helping out the dwarf team against the high elves here, who do have some of that dodge. Goes ahead and knocks everybody down. And he is going to have to go pick up the ball again now. Sure hands, not working out for him, but fortunately he does have this Falor who is going to be able to go ahead and pick up the ball on the bouncing ball. That is a 4+ roll. Now we are going to go ahead and take a look at the dwarf team here, as this is the first cast for the season. And here we have the Troll Slayer, Zirak Zigil, and Nalint the blocker, and the runner, Gamil Zirak. And the current ball carrier, the blocker, Falur, and Azagal, the blocker. And Blitzer, Zach clearly did not name his players himself, or either he's just trying to come up with incredibly difficult names to pronounce. So whatever that one is, Neogith Nibbin, Frerin, the runner. And here we have Boftrek, the blocker, Nalraz, the blocker, and Hithoglir, the blitzer. So he's going to go ahead and reestablish kind of a defensive end around Falor, who has been fortunate enough to pick up the ball. He didn't really create much of a cage action, and he is going to be leaving himself right next to a situation where Matt is going to be able to get that 2-die block from the other direction. He is going to get only the push, the double push action here. Is he going to elect to use a reroll? He does have 4 left. He does use the offensive reroll, and is going to get the defender stumbles. So a nice little chain push action. It's now going to land at 4 tackle zones for the high elf, so definitely a fortunate bounce right there. He's going to go ahead and pick that up with his catcher, who does have dodge. Move him back a little bit, and now he is definitely going to have something of an advantage going forwards. He has made the dwarves turn over the ball in their own reception. Passing on to the dwarf team, the dwarfs are going to open it up, and we do still have a situation where the dwarf team can still get a 1-die block here. They do want to do had this guy move down, he might have needed to do some GFIs to patch it up here and move this guy in. He might even be able to get that blitzer to blitz in. Matt has not established really much of an effective cage on this action, and looks like the dwarf team is going to go with the bash and another KO. This is definitely going to be only that star player out, while we have 2 players KO'd for the high elf. So a bit of a man, and a smashed collarbone. Here we have, that's definitely a fireable injury. Matt is wisely going to use that apothecary. Unfortunately, the apothecary offers to fix that smashed collarbone while killing him. And here we go. It looks like he is going to take the 2-die block. And the 2-die block, it really looks more like he went for the 2-die block against. I would have liked to have seen more of a 1-die block action, but he does get fortunate with that defender down, both down, and is going to force, definitely a bit of a risk there on Zach's part, especially given that he probably could have marked these up, taken the 1-die block with the reroll, instead risking the risky 2 red-die block action. Does work out for him. And unfortunately, though, now he has used that reroll, and the ball is in between 2 elves and only in 1 tackle zone. So it isn't going to be too difficult to get this blocker out of the way, and then go ahead and pick that up with perhaps his thrower, or really anybody else. And he's going to pass on that turn, using the blitzes to get rid of that blocker. Takes his blitz action. All right. And we are going to have the dwarves definitely in a threat, but this does, having everybody in the middle wing here, in the middle section here, is going to open up both wings for Matt's elves to then take a push through. Definitely going through the middle is not going to happen with this kind of dwarf coverage. It looks like Matt wisely picks up the ball and moves it to safety. However, he is moving a little bit too far back down to the end zone. I do like to see a little bit of safety here, and he is out of range of these dwarves, but he does only have a couple turns left, and now he is going to be a little bit hard pressed with only this one catcher that really is much of a scoring threat. This is going to create a pretty easy situation to just mark up this man. This guy's already marked. He then is just going to have to blitz this one down, and Matt is not going to have really very many options going forward, especially with these dodges through multiple tackle zones. He's going to go ahead and take more of his blocks, and he is going to get the solid block dice. Blocking is relatively safe with a Dwarf team, given that almost all of your players, well, all your players do start with that universal block. He does go ahead and mark the sail run roll off. He then looks like he's going to use the blitz action on this individual. Honestly, I'm not crazy about that. I think you really wanted to use it on this catcher. You put man or two. You could have had a double man mark right here, keeping Garnon from really doing anything moving down the field. Instead, you only have you have one man marking this up, especially with a simple 2-die. And well, looks like he's going to go ahead and try for the throw in the tackle zone. He's going to be pretty safe from having to throw an interception, but and he gets the pass, gets the dodge, and surprising lack of hustle here, especially given and he is going to take the GFIs instead of trying to dodge through the tackle zone, trying to go low risk here, and wisely doesn't go for the second GFI, given that he has already used that reroll. I would have liked to have seen some more marking on the guys that can actually get to Sail Ron, as it looks like it would have only been these two guys, and I would have enjoyed seeing perhaps a dodge from this Siangian to get over there, and then marked up again. But it looks like he is going to go for the 4+ dodge. He is going to get it, and the GFI. Whoo! Lucky rolls from the Dwarf team. Going to take the next GFI as well. He does have to use a reroll up there, right here, for that block. But he is going to get the successful turnout, and that is a pretty risky maneuver, going for that 4+ dodge. Only 75% chance with a reroll, 50-50 on doing that. He does get the ball carrier down. He does mark up. And it looks like we're going into turn 8. Matt does have a single option. He gets his man up. And, dodges in a very peculiar direction here. This is going to force him to go backwards too. He's not going to be able to get the touchdown now. And given that the man has dodge, we don't have any tackle here. He would have been able to use his tackle. I would have liked to have seen a dodge into here. You have the reroll for the pickup and go right in for the touchdown. Unfortunately, it looks like what he's going to do is the safer dodge, but he's going to sacrifice the ability to score on the Dwarf's reception, which is going to be a big disadvantage, especially since now he's going into his own advantage with only 1 KO for the Dwarf team and 4 KOs and 2 casualties for the Elf team. So there is going to be a serious man disadvantage if he does not get those KO rolls back. And that is going to be halftime, guys. We are going to be going back and, unlucky on those KO rolls. We are only going to get 1 of them back. Fortunately enough, Zara the Slayer does not come back. Don't need any more of that force strength action being allowed on the pitch for the Dwarf side. But the Dwarves are going to be kicking it off. And the Dwarf team, they're no slobs on defense with all that block. Their movement is definitely something that the High Elf team is going to want to take advantage of going forwards, because if they can get a score here, they're going to put the Dwarves on the back foot and really force that score to have a tie happen. They are going to do the kickoff, and it is going to be an 11-man to 6-man advantage for the Dwarf team, being 5 men down. This is definitely possible for the High Elf team, but there's going to be a serious man disadvantage. And they each are going to get bribes, something that's definitely not going to make the High Elf coach all that happy. Now, I don't know if Zach is a particular fan of the fouling action, but given that safe foul and the man advantage he already has, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing a nice bit of foul action to try to make that man advantage snowball a little bit bigger. And it looks like he is going to go ahead and use his blitz to open up the sideline. He is going to do a bit of a dodge. He is going to be going against a tackle guy, so even with that dodge, he's going to have to burn a reroll. The thrower looks like he's going to pace forward a little bit, then he's going to stay back. He's going to stay out of range. and he's dodged everyone away, but hasn't really moved anyone down the field. And when you make an aggressive formation like this, I do want to see more of that movement downfield, especially with this man disadvantage. You cluster your men right here in the midfield, especially on the sideline. And as you see, Dwarf Coach is just going to be loving this. He's going to go around, encircle all of this. I wouldn't mind seeing a bit of a surf action right here with Zeraxigil on Patrick Murphy, especially given that he can go ahead and follow that up with an assist and take the 1-die block on the second one with the reroll. Doesn't look like he's going to elect to do that, though. Instead, he's going to go for this catcher here. He's going to get the block. I still think it would have been a better action to go ahead and take that frenzy, take Patrick Murphy right off the field, take this man advantage down even more. The High Elf team is really down on men, so every man he loses at this point is going to be a huge advantage for the Dwarf team. Now, he's going to pass ahead the turn, and it looks like the McAlpine's Fusiliers haven't actually introduced their team yet. Unfortunately, I waited until half the team is off the field. Do have the thrower, Erastian Galathalar, with accurate pass, safe throw, and sure feet action. Then we have the Blitzer with -1 agility, so not the greatest dodger, but he does come with dodge and block already on him starting the season. We do have the catcher with dodge, Sailron Roloff. Looks like, I'm going to have to interrupt this real quickly, Patrick Murphy's going to take the blitz action, do a dodge, a 1-die block. A little bit of a risky action there, especially without block on a man with block. He is going to get it. He is going to get the push, and not going to follow up wisely, so he doesn't have to use that next block, but he is going to have that man right here now on the sideline, which means he's definitely at threat of being surfed. And I'm not sure if he's going to go ahead and follow that up. Going back while we decide to do that, we have the catcher Sailron Roloff. He is going to wisely move this Patrick Murphy downfield. As for the injured players, we have Bilsathi and Lan Linsell. It doesn't look like Matt really named these players either. He does have some dodge on these linemen, a bit of a catch on this catcher comes with it. Rosin the Bow with a smash collarbone and a wrestle catcher. Doesn't look like he's going to be long for this world. And I'm missing a turnover here. What is it? Oh, he's going to go ahead and take that 3+ dodge. 2+ dodge, I apologize. And even with the dodge here, now Rez is going to have tackle. So doing all these risky dodges. First the dodge that required the reroll there, then the 1-die block. Does look like the High Elves are taking a lot of risks here. And unfortunately, he's going to be in a man-down situation. But he has left the Dwarf team again with all his men very much in position to take more High Elves off the field. I would want to see a 2-die block on Slillian Rololion. And it looks like Zach is going to be listening to me here. He's going to take the 1-die block. He could have provided an assist there, but you just need a push. It's not that risky. Going to take the push. Another High Elf is now off the field. Doesn't get any injury, but it doesn't really matter. As the Dwarf team, at this point, you want this to be an 8-turn possession one way or the other. You have the massive numbers advantage. You're going to keep going until you can get that ball, hopefully score, win it out 1-0. Don't give the High Elves a second chance to equalize. He is going to get another KO, and on this armor value 8, it is really not working out for the High Elf team so far. Unfortunately, it is just injuries all over the place. You expect to see this more from a Wood Elf team, maybe a Pro Elf team. But a High Elf team, it's definitely not being the most fortunate for. Nuffle has not been the kindest on these armor value rolls for the High Elf team. And he has nicely marked up Patrick Murphy. He's going to have to do some risky dodging. Fortunately, neither of these players does have tackle, so his dodge is going to come into play. Is going to finish taking off his blocks, and he is going to move up more men on the thrower, Erastian Galathalar, pass along the turn. And now you definitely have a situation where Erastian Galathalar does not have many options. He does stand this Sailron Roloff up and moves him into the open. Given that he does have safe throw, he can safely throw over multiple men. is going to take the dodges. Fortunately, with that dodge action, he is going to be able to get out of there through the tackle zone, move Patrick Murphy way to the outside, and this is not going to be quite out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to be in range of a blitz from Barazimbar. If he can get this throw, it's only going to be a 1 die with GFIs. He's doing all the go for it. He's going for a pass. This is going to be a long pass, and it is very sunny. This is risky. You don't have very many options, and unfortunately, this is one of the problems of having to be this many men down. He is going to get that fumble. Fortunately enough, he is going to have safe throw, so he's not going to have to go ahead and drop the ball. But he is going to open himself right up for a 2-die block from the Dwarf team. Is going to get the block. Oh, and fortunately enough, it goes right into the hands of the lineman here, Garnon Augdidar. So he is going to have another opportunity. He has used all his rerolls. This is definitely going to be a problem, given that the catcher does have catch and he does have dodge. So it's going to be and a fail on GFI. Is that he's not going to have the reroll for that, or he's going to elect not to use it. But there's going to be a stun there. So Patrick Murphy is in the open. He's going to get that dodge action moving out. He is going to be coming down here. He's not going to have any rerolls for that sure feat. But he is going to take the first go for it. He is going to go for a very sunny short pass now. Again, this is going to be a 4+ roll. It is going to be a 3+ for the short pass and a -1 for the very sunny. So it is going to be a 4+ there, given that was a long pass with the pass catcher. That was going to be a 5+, which is why those were both very risky passes. And definitely not something you can count on. That really sunny really working out for the Dwarf team, who isn't really going to be doing all that much passing. Dwarves are going to take advantage of this. Go ahead and block away this lineman. Everybody's going to be on the ground. Patrick Murphy is going to mark up. Oh, failing the sure hands. And I would have liked to have seen him mark up on Patrick Murphy first. You want to force that dodge. Even with the dodge, you want to force any rolls you can make him do. Now, he is going to have everybody else pretty well covered. But it's definitely, even with the sure hands, you want to do everything first. He's going to take the 1-die block. He's going to do the chain push to get the other guy out of there. That is very nice maneuver there, pushing Azagal out of there. Getting the pickup in the tackle zone. And gets the dodge as well, has dodge, so that's a pretty likely scenario. Unfortunately, he just doesn't have anybody to pass to. Going to try to dodge away to make a little bit more defense, but isn't going to get that dodge, and that's just not working out. He is going to be giving up another 2-die block, and with tackle and block, this is not going to work out well for the High Elf team, especially with the 1 reroll still for Zach. And here he comes. He elects to get the guy with the frenzy. I'm not sure I like that. Some unnecessary GFIing. I would have no tackle. I would have used Azagal. It does work out for him. Gets the stun. But that said, certainly not the safest maneuver. Is going to cage up here, and now we see the Dwarf team is going to have a massive advantage. Is fortunately going to get the pickup, is going to go ahead and make that cage. And what do we have left, guys? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 High Elves left on the field to the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 Dwarves still on the field. So full team for the Dwarves. The High Elves are going to come around and try marking, but honestly, there's very little probability of them being able to get to that ball. You might want to see some dodges into 3 tackle zones. Hope Nuffle favors you. But, he is going to go for some full speed here. So, does think, I suppose, that he is going to get both of these knockdowns. Not going to be overly crazy about this. He could go a little bit safer, just taking the nice and easy right here. And blitz the 1 guy off, keep a cage, go a little slowly. You got plenty of turns left. He's going to mark everyone up here. And take this, and another casualty. And this is a great start, and a fractured arm. Apothecary already used. He's not going to be here next game. Gets the blitz. So fortunately enough, he was able to get both of those blocks. But had either one not been able to get there, the High Elf team could have circled around for a 1-die or possibly even a 2-die block. So leaving it a little bit open, not playing the safest, but he is going to get those blocks that he needs, and not overly risky blocks either, and is going to be able to hold the ball here, giving it turn 15 and still with a 0-0. It does not look like the High Elf team is going to be able to do much. Does dodge through quite a few tackle zones, dodges into 2 tackle zones, and gets the 2 red die block, but only gets the push action. Isn't going to get the fortunate results of the 2 die block, and some of that is that this individual does not even have block, so can't even rely on the both down there. Going to pass the turn, and only going to get the pushes. Uses his blitz for another GFI here. He does have a reroll, so not too risky. Pushes him away, and the runner's going to go ahead and score. And nicely done by the Dwarf team, giving the High Elves, it would appear, a single chance at a one-turn touchdown. And now he's getting those KO rolls back. Looks like all those players are coming back on the field, but you know, it's too late, guys. It's looking like it's going to be a one-turn attempt. He does have a player with 8 movement, so it is, I believe, I'm not even sure it is with this many players, and even then it'd be quite difficult, especially with no rerolls. So we are going to be looking at the last turn, and it would appear to be a 1-0 lead. Now that weather changes to nice. I'm sure the High Elf team is just shaking his head, wishing that that nice weather could have been in the last half, so he could have gotten some of those passes. Blinding Sun just getting in all of those High Elfin eyes. Going to go ahead, do a block, maybe do a vanity pass, get some SPP for the rest of the season. A casualty with a smashed hip. The Dwarf team is going to still have his Apothecary, so he is going to be able to save that casualty. Fortunate for him. Get a little SPP on that roll there. Go ahead, and it looks like he's going to go for some vanity pass, which he is, and fortunately enough, the 1 SPP is going to go to this catcher. He's going to move it back to the end of the field and really seal along that game with a 1-0 win going to the Dwarf team. Shinerman schmack down, and it looks like Zach is going to take this one. Thanks you all for watching, and of course, we'll see you all for day number 2.